For those of you that are beyond the 10K mark, you're in that 10 to 100K a month mark, you have one simple thing to do here, and that is just expand the way that you're reaching people. Okay, so you potentially could have more than one top of funnel campaign. In fact, what you might end up doing is you might end up duplicating this entire thing and just adding in more personas, or you could be adding in more ads into this. I wouldn't just spend more. Okay, what I would do is I would duplicate this campaign. So you could have 3 versions of this where you have different personas, or you've added in more ads or different ads to spend additional, right? So that's how you scale. I'll do a whole video that's devoted just to scaling, but I didn't want you to think you would only just have this, right? You might have 3 versions of that. If you're spending 100K, 50K a month is $1,200 a day. You'll be able to spend quite a bit. So you'll have the ability to have multiple campaigns. What you're going to start doing differently now, though, beyond just duplicating this and adding more top of funnel, you're going to be getting into now middle of funnel. And this one I call top of funnel / middle of funnel campaign, because now what you're going to start doing is you're going to start retargeting social engagers. And this is true even if you don't have a large social following, because I want to explain to you what happens with ads. When you start spending money on ads, people are going to click on your profile. They're not going to click on the ad. They're going to look at you. They might engage with your page or they might not. They might follow you. They might not. But what you want to start doing is you want to start re-engaging those people. Kind of call this top of funnel 2.0, but it's like top of funnel / middle of funnel, because I'm going to send these people to a lead magnet, because I'm not targeting leads. I'm going to send the leads somewhere else. Someone who opts in as a lead from over here, I'm going to send them somewhere else. We'll talk about where in just a second. But the social engagers are really important in this category. The lead magnet that I'm sending them to is probably very similar, if not the same lead magnet that I'm using over here. It's just they haven't become a lead yet. If you think about the filtering process or a funnel, right? You're putting a lot of volume in at the top. And that's what this main campaign is for, is to put volume at the top, get a fairly inexpensive but quality lead. Hopefully you've gone through my lead magnet course and you're learning how to build a solid lead magnet that attracts the right kind of people, because that's really, really important. It doesn't have to be a PDF. It could just be a video of you talking. So don't overthink that, but do go through that course because it is very important. But the lead magnets that you're using need to get in front of people. And oftentimes what happens when you're running ads is that it doesn't get in front of people right away. So that's why the social engagers, going back to the lead magnet, is important. Now, the other portion of this middle of funnel, top of funnel campaign are targeting leads. So people who have opted in, they've already been through your lead magnet. Now what we want to do is we want to scale up the trust and the authority, because this is why people don't work with you. You've seen me talk about my elite marketing ecosystem. Trust is at an all-time low. The old buyer journey, people opted in, they booked a call on your VSL page and they did that the same day. It was easy. It doesn't work like that anymore. Now there's a lot longer buyer journey because people don't trust you. So there has to be multiple touch points throughout this. And this is where the elite marketing ecosystem that I encourage you build, this is where it comes in. So when I'm talking about leads, VSL, webinar, etc., what I'm talking about is this middle of funnel section where we might be selling or offering a course that could be low ticket at this point. We could be doing a webinar. We could be driving people to a community. We could be doing live events. These are all things that I would run in this sort of middle of funnel campaign. And so I might have 4 or 5 ads in this campaign that are going to different things, because I want to get them in front of different touch points and information. All I'm trying to do here is build more trust and more authority. And if you look at this ecosystem, that's what we're doing here, right? We're driving people into a lead magnet. We're putting them into our ecosystem so that they can learn who we are, how we can help them, and whether or not they can trust us or not. And then from here, what I'm also going to have is a third sort of strategy, which is a DM strategy, a middle of funnel DM campaign. By this point, you should be at least 2 to 3x your ad spend. Okay. So you should be in that 20, 30 to, possibly 300K a month ad, or revenues. You should have at least a setter, someone who do messaging on your team. If not, if it's still you, that's okay. But I would recommend a DM strategy for middle of funnel. Now with the social engagers with this, we're going to exclude people who are already leads. okay? Because we're not taking them to another lead magnet. What we're going to take them to now is a different lead magnet because they've already become a lead. We're going to take them to what I call a nurture lead magnet. And a nurture lead magnet is different than what you see up here. Very similar to like a VSL or a webinar, something like that. The difference here is what I'm taking them to is directly to direct message into Messenger. And when we get into building ads themselves, I'll talk about that. But the reason that this is important is because it helps the nurture process if you can have a direct messaging conversation with people. And by now, they should know who you are. They should have seen some information. It should make your messaging a lot easier. One of the big things that I get with people who I audit is they say leads are just non-responsive. And usually what that comes from is they're trying to run top of funnel cold traffic directly to DM and people just aren't responding. Of course they're not. They don't know who you are. They don't trust you. And they get DM'd by 1 million people a day. So they're sick and tired of it. So what I'm recommending that you do is we warm them up through this process. Now, there are going to be people who come in top of funnel. There are going to be people who see your lead magnet, and hopefully you've built your lead magnet properly the way that I teach in my lead magnet course that's going to allow them to schedule a call. There are going to be some people who self-book. Most people aren't going to do that. What they're going to need is more information. So if you're in this 10K to 100K a month ad spend range, now that top of funnel, middle of funnel can be driving people to a more of a direct call to action. So for example, like a VSL, on a VSL, I would have an actual video where I'm talking about something specific, okay? And I could do it here and I can do it here as well, but there's a direct connection. I'm going to connect them now to the next step, which is to schedule a call. And on that page should be a link to schedule a call. And the objective of these campaigns is not to generate leads, but actually to generate book calls. Okay, so that's going to be really, really important. With DM ads, you can only set the objective for messaging conversation, one of the downsides. But this objective for this campaign should be lead generation, just like it was if you're just starting out, just lead generation. And I would focus on that. I would not start running cold traffic to DM, especially if you've never done messaging before. Now, again, I mentioned this in a previous video. If you have a large social following or you've been doing social for a long time and you're used to DMing and you don't have a very large budget, you can start with straight to DM ads because you have the proven success there. Totally, absolutely okay. Okay, so you can definitely start there. But as you're starting to scale, as you're starting to spend more on ads, you're obviously furthering the knowledge, making sure people trust me, and then giving them opportunities to book call. All of these levels in the middle of funnel should have an opportunity to schedule a call. So all the lead magnets that you're using, VSL should have a book or call. Auto webinars or live webinars should have a call to action to book or call. Your community, if you have like course content, should all have call to actions to book calls. All of these nurture things, if you're doing social and DMs and setter calls, all they're trying to do is to get people to book calls. You're doing a re-offer to get people to book calls. If you're doing 2 steps, it's to get people to book calls. Everything in the middle of the funnel is all about getting people down here to schedule a call. But you might be thinking, well, Ben, 10K to 100K a month in ad spend is a big difference. You bet it is. So what's the difference? The difference is now you can start expanding. Okay. So what you can do is you can just take this and you can just duplicate it. And then you can start adding in other ads. So you could do other personas, for example, like maybe there's more people or more types of people that you want to target. So you could do persona 5, persona 6, if you wanted to. You could also duplicate this whole thing out and you could get into different versions of ads or adding in more. Let's say, for example, that this ad set was all just founder. And what you could do now is you could add more ads, top of the founder ads, right? You could just duplicate it out. And instead of just founder, now you're doing UGC, testimonial, proof, comparison ads. You could have, maybe 15 to 20 different ads as opposed to just maybe 3 or 4, like you might have been doing, as we talked about back here. Maybe you're only doing 1 or 2 or 3 of these in each ad set, but now you can start doing 5, 6, 7, 10 ads, and that will start to spend more. So you can just duplicate out and then add in more to proven ad sets. Right? So this one would be like proven ad sets. This would be like new ad sets. So you're starting to grow the campaigns. Now you want to be careful. You don't want to create too many campaigns. In my experience, Meta likes simplicity. Meta likes it to be concise. So I would start slow. And as you feel like you're ready to scale, and again, I have a whole lesson that will devote just to scaling, when to scale, how to scale, all that stuff. But that's essentially what I was talking about here. But here's the important point. Don't just add more spend to the campaign that's working, or to the ad set that's working, or to the ad that's working. That's a big no-no. Instead, duplicate it out, raise the budget, and then get it working. That's how you scale, essentially. Okay. But this is essentially what I would do. Now, you notice here that there isn't a real bottom of funnel. And that's because I find that you don't really need a bottom of funnel at this level, because people are going to be booking calls from the lead magnets, or the nurture lead magnets, which again are VSL styles. Everything should have a call to action to book a call in all of those lead magnets. It's just we're hitting them in a different way. This one is DM, and this one is essentially going straight to page. Okay. If you're spending more than 100K a month on ad spend, you're likely not running your ads. You have someone on your team that's doing it, or an agency like mine that's doing it. It's just a lot more. Media buying is not all that difficult of a concept. The challenging stuff comes in creating the ads and creating the content that get results. That's the hard part when it comes to building ads. It's not the structure. It's really just doing more of this, where, this campaign might be spending, $1,000 a day. This one might be spending $1,000 a day. This one might be spending $3,000 a day. This one might be spending $1,000 a day. This one might be spending $1,000 a day. That's $5,000 a day. It's 150 grand a month in an ad spend. I mean, that's how you spend 150K a month in ad spend. It's not rocket science. Okay. The other thing that you might do at this level, at a little bit higher level, maybe, in that 50 to 150 to 200K a month in ad spend, you might switch to a CBO campaign. When you duplicate something out of your winners, and we'll talk more about that in the scaling, but it's getting you to this point, which is the most important thing. It's why most people are here. They want to get to that. How do I get to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K a month in ad spend? And this is how you do it. You start slow. You start with a strategy that allows you to target the right people, put it in front of the right people, put the right message in front of the right people, and then you expand into nurture and making sure that you're taking advantage of the traffic. The money that you're spending, you're getting the most bang for your buck. So that's my 10K to 100K per month meta strategy.